back for episode 23. What do we have this week? I think, a couple of biggest things. We're always talking about Tesla, but Elon knows how to stay in the news. So it looks like RoboTaxi is delayed. So maybe that was a buying opportunity, maybe not. Of course, I didn't participate. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, I think the biggest thing this week was actually Samsung Unpacked. So a lot of new product launches, giving us some ideas. But anyways, we'll kind of dive into that. And I don't know, comparison to Apple, right? That's how we have to do it. So anyways, yeah. Since you're the Tesla investor, how about you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and Tesla is in Austin. Austin is in Texas, and wanted to first give a little acknowledgement to Texas because of the hurricane blew through there, and I heard over 4 million people were without power for a bit, and it's blistering hot. So
Yeah.
hopefully you're all safe down there. I have a bunch of family and friends myself, and hurricanes and flooding and no power for days or weeks is no fun. So Tesla dropped almost 8 to 10% to start the day on, I think that was Thursday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole last couple of weeks, Tesla had been rising pretty high. I think it got as high as 260, 270. Yeah.
A little bit of over 270.
And so it's been a good time, but the reason why it dropped suddenly is because Bloomberg sent out news that there was speculation on RoboTaxi event being delayed to October. And so, as you all know, Elon posted on Twitter that there was going to be a RoboTaxi event in August. And everyone was getting excited about that because RoboTaxis equals AI, and AI is hot. And even in the last earnings, Elon talked about it a lot in terms of the future of Tesla as a technology company, and AI is the future. We've talked about on this podcast how he didn't get his pay packet. He would bring all of the AI away from Tesla into XAI, but he did get voted to receive his pay package. So now he's, now we expect that he's going to invest more AI in Tesla. But because of this news, it dropped pretty heavily. And as you know, Tony, I actually had texted you a day or two before that I bought a put because I saw that Tesla was hitting the top of its Fibonacci levels. I think to 260, 262, 264 was like the top of the Fibonacci. Basically, the last high was at this level. So I thought that was a good time to maybe start hedging. And luckily, I got awarded with that by a nice increase to my put pretty quickly. So I sold out of that. I didn't want to play with, it losing that money anymore. So I sold out of that put. But I think the one thing is, and I haven't seen confirmation. I don't think Elon actually confirmed the news. Is that right?
No, I think he did. Afterwards, said it was. He confirmed. Yeah, he did confirm it. He said that they decided to push it so they had more time to come up more prototypes, whatever that means.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at his Twitter right after that, and I didn't see anything. And so, well, okay. So it is confirmed then. It's pushed and delayed. It's not the first time he's delayed things, so it's a trend, obviously.
I think it goes back to Elon does what he. So after that, right? Then there was a lot of speculation of, when they announced deliveries, right? The timing of when they talked about RoboTaxi was. Now it's like looking back, it's like, okay, they knew their delivery notes were going to be bad, and so Elon needed to do something to keep the stock from tanking, right, or continue tanking, and so that's why they did the RoboTaxi again, as Elon does. And then now, I think they figured it's really not ready enough, and so it's like, what does that even mean? It's like, so they have time, like, whatever, August, September. It's like, what is an extra 2 months? How does that give you enough time to build like additional prototypes? Like, what does that mean? It's like is it prototypes of the car? Is it prototypes of the software, right, that powers the robotaxis? So that was one. And then the second one was, again, a lot of people going back to Elon shifting all of those NVIDIA chips from Tesla to XA or whatever, XAI. And it's like, well, if robotaxi really was a thing, why would he wasn't like, how could they have not been prepared to receive those chips? It's like, you order the chips and it's not like they show up the next day. It's not like Prime, they show up in 2 days, right? I mean, these things have like months of lead time. So like they placed the order, they knew they were coming, but Elon's reasoning was like, oh, we didn't have the warehouse built yet, or the warehouse was delayed. And I was like, what? It just didn't add up.
Yeah.
But anyways, so now I'm curious, like, what is earnings? Like Tesla earnings is up in a couple next week? Is it next week?
No, it's the last week. I think July
Couple weeks.
22nd, 20 something.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so it'll be interesting because now that window, it was like going into earnings, you probably see a pump, right? Earnings come bad, maybe not so bad because the RoboTaxi event was like a week or two after it, right? But now it's like 2 months out. So anyways,
Yeah.
having said that, RoboTaxi delayed, we'll see.
Yeah. So I think I think last week we were saying people are holding on to their stock, right? Because they want to see what happens with RoboTaxi. And now that that's delayed and a 4-month window between earnings and RoboTaxi, they don't need to hold on to their stock anymore. So, that's definitely it. I still feel earnings is going to be a miss. And now with the RoboTaxi event, I think, it'll probably go down a bit more. So I think looking at the 200 level now to maybe
200 level, is that what you think? Okay.
accumulate
I've been eyeing the reports.
a little nibble.
Oh, really? I almost pulled the trigger. They were like $1. $1. They were like $100. $100 a contract. Those 200 puts for next week.
Oh yeah. For next
Not financial advice, by the way. It's us talking about our own missteps. My missteps, mainly.
I wouldn't think we wouldn't get there until maybe like September, October, around election time.
By time, yeah. I was looking at more momentum-ish.
Yeah, but the other rumor around RoboTaxi, I don't know if you heard this one, was there's rumor that Travis Kalanick was being tapped to head up the RoboTaxi division at Tesla. Did you hear this one?
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
Wow, that's out of left field, but I guess Elon and Travis kind of share personality and ideal a little bit,
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
do you think that would be a positive thing for Tesla, or do you think it's more of a negative thing if Travis Kalanick were to come in?
I think as far as like know-how, right? I mean, okay, yeah, Elon's brilliant, but obviously he's not good in understanding like those type of marketplaces. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Travis has a certain expertise, right? And I think it could accelerate the way they think about RoboTaxi. I don't know. Well, we'll see. It'll be interesting. If you look at how Elon handled Twitter/X, right? Obviously, he's not a genius at everything.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway,
Well, we'll see with this one. Tesla stock did pop again the next day, about 4 to 5%. So
yeah,
people
it's
are
kind of strange. Yeah, it was almost like it wasn't necessarily Tesla either. Like some of the AI stocks, like a lot of the AI big tech all dropped on Thursday, and then it kind of powered back on Friday. I don't think anybody really knows why. I heard it was like CPI or PPI, and it's like,
well, I think it's just getting a bit frothy right now. I mean, it's been S&P has been going up and up and up and up, and we need to pull back.
Yeah, I know. S&P is like all-time high again after yesterday. I was like, man,
yeah.
Like you don't need to trade anything but the you don't need to trade anything but SPY or S&P. think that's what it's come down to.
Do you
We'll
see?
see.
The one last piece of news for Tesla is they announced the new Model 3. The Model 3 long range with rear-wheel drive is now available, and so it's a cheaper model after their Model 3 Standard Plus, right, which is standard range, rear-wheel drive. The next cheapest is this new Model 3 long range rear drive. So it's priced at $42,490 MSRP, which is $5,000 lower than the all-wheel drive version. So just another way of Tesla trying to address the more affordable or cheaper market.
Mm-hmm.
So that came out for people to purchase. I wish that was out when I had bought my first Model 3 because I had the Standard Range Plus railroad, which was rated at 280 miles. It did good, but now that I have the longer range Model Y, it's such a world
Great.
like range anxiety.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna worry about that for a while.
All right,
I'm not doing it.
let's move on to the main topic of our podcast this week, which is Samsung Galaxy Unpacked. You want to give the quick sum up of what it was?
Yeah, Samsung Unpacked. So it's like the surprise. It was like surprise or not surprise because there's like so many rumors, so many leaks about what they were gonna launch. It was like, all right, a non-event, and so maybe like you didn't hear about it. Like I actually forgot because there were so many leaks and rumors already. But anyways, so they launched a couple of big things. Of course, notable updates to their Galaxy flip phone, their Galaxy Z Fold and Flip phones. They're now all across version 6. What was it? Their new Ultra watch, a la Apple Watch Ultra,
has the same orange band.
Same orange band. They're not AirPods Pro, so the new Galaxy Buds Pro. And then what else was there? Oh yeah, the Ring. This was kind of like, this was hot news for a while. It's like, oh, Galaxy, Samsung wants to release from like a Ring. The other well-known one is also Aura Ring. And of course, comparisons to Apple actually has quite a bit of patents around a Ring that they've been exploring for decades, but have not released anything. But anyways, so I saw like 4 big things. And of course, they had this, I wouldn't say like huge section, but AI was also a big part of their launch and add-on. I'll call it an add-on to these phones, right? Because they're partnered with Google mostly. And so they talked a little bit about Gemini and gave that some press time. But anyways, so what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I did not know this was happening. That's how much I follow Samsung and Android. But I did see it in my Twitter, not my Twitter feed, my TikTok feed, and mostly around the watch, which is the Watch Ultra. And no, it looks cool. I mean, I'd say, of all the companies that are competing, right? Like Samsung is clearly that one company competing with Apple on the Android front. They own the Android user, basically. I think most of the things are good. I'm looking at this picture, which you'll see in the YouTube video, but their lineup, their hero picture of their lineup looks eerily identical to Apple lineup, which is interesting. But strategically, obviously, Samsung is trying to differentiate a little bit, right? I mean, they have the flip phones and the fold phones, which is plastic that actually can flip and expand into a bigger landscape, which is really great technology. I was just saying to you before we started recording. However, Apple is probably going to go there one day. I'm sure they're testing this in their headquarters, but the technology is just not great yet. Like my friend has one and he uses all the time, but whenever I see it, he just has that crease you can't, take your eyes away from whenever you're using it in expanded mode. So I think Samsung's strategy of double down on it though is good because it allows them to differentiate. The watch, the Ultra watch looks very, very similar to the Apple Watch Ultra, but they also have some other watches in their lineup, and they have chosen to use the more familiar circular form factor versus the square form factor, which again helps them differentiate. And then now with this ring, which looks pretty much exactly like the Aura ring, it allows them to differentiate from Apple because Apple doesn't even have a ring at all. So I think in general, I think these are some good things. The ring is a good product launch. Myself, I know a lot of people who use the ring and love their ring because it primarily tracks their sleep. It looks like Galaxy's ring is going to be tracking, sleep, health, and fitness data similar to a watch, which I have a Whoop band myself, and the fitness aspect is more compelling to me. I mean, the sleep aspect is really compelling to me as well because I focus on getting good sleep, but having the fitness aspect there is good. And so if Galaxy's ring does that, I think that's a one up over Aura because from what I hear from my friend, the Aura ring is good for sleep, and that's about it. Like from a fitness perspective, it's actually not that great.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So if Samsung can do better in that area, sleep and fitness, then I think that'll be good for them. Other than that, I thought, yeah, it's pretty basic event. And I'm looking at these pictures now of how their flip phones work. And it's pretty cool. I like the little, what is it, the Fold 6, which is the smaller
Yeah.
one.
I mean, they've been, or the Flip 6?
The Flip 6, yeah.
Yeah, the Flip 6, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they've definitely made improvements. So the crease is less noticeable. I saw some videos of people who were actually at the event, and yeah, the crease it's definitely better, but you can still see it under certain angles or the way, if the light reflects a certain way, you can still see it, but definitely a lot less than when they originally launched, like the very first one. Like it was super prominent, right? What I find is like when I first saw like the leaks and stuff, I was like, this looks just like the iPhone, meaning it's gone to the flat, very industrial design. And if you look at the Fold, I mean, it's very industrial looking versus,
Yeah.
the previous ones were a little bit more curved on the edges, which was also the iPhone before previously, right? It's kind of curved screen, kind of curved back. But now it's like a pure copy of, those hard edges, very metallic. It's very Apple-esque.
Remember, I'm betting, or maybe we're betting, I'm betting that Apple's going to go back to curve in form factor.
Yeah. I haven't, we should start seeing the iPhone 16 like leaks coming up pretty soon, right? Apple's event is in September, so it'll be interesting. We'll see if that plays out or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, better hinge design, a little bit thinner. Still, I mean, even though the IP rating of it is like, what is it, IPX8 rating, but still not dust resistant. I don't know. That's the only thing about flip phones, fold phones, and flip phones is just the hinge. No matter how well you make it, because it's not fully encapsulated, you're always going to have something get in. So until somebody comes up with a genius method to do that, and I think I actually think Apple is. This was like a year or two back. I actually think Apple has kind of stopped development on trying to figure it out because, as you said, the technology just isn't there yet. And so they're not really actively doing anything with it at the moment. But
And that's saying something because we all know that Apple has become the experts in glass, right?
yeah,
And so if they can't figure it out, then yeah.
My bet is this was from last year at CES, but both Samsung and LG. Did you see I think they were prototypes, well, soon to be launched products anyways, but the transparent TV screens?
Oh yeah, I saw
Did
that.
you remember seeing that? To me, that's like, okay, that would be totally something Apple would want to iterate on, is an iPhone that was transparent, and then it would work when you need to use it. Sci-fi. You see like things like that in sci-fi all the time, right? It's like flip, it's like, flip. It's like, oh, it's transparent. But then once you activate it at the screen, it's like, wow, okay, technology is actually there.
Just a beautiful piece of glass.
Yeah. I tell it, that would, to me, that would be the direction Apple would probably go once they figure out like how to keep it from breaking.
Yeah. Well, I like going back to the Flip 6. I'm looking at more photos. I kind of like it. I mean, I'm looking at these photos where they have it propped up like a little table stand, and that's pretty cool with the cameras facing forward. So you could probably, video chat from that.
Can we influence it?
Yeah. It's really cute. The other thing I was thinking through as I was looking at this and I was talking about Samsung trying to differentiate is, I used to work at BlackBerry, and I thought that's what we were doing at BlackBerry. It's like we're trying to focus on the things that were different, but not great. And that's also led to the death of the BlackBerry phone, because it is very novel, right? And seems like that's what kind of Samsung is trying to do as well. Although I don't think Samsung will suffer the same fate because they make much more than just phones.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like how I feel in the comparison of their devices to Apple's.
But otherwise, that was it. Nothing stood out much more than that. Okay, new phone.
Let's talk about their Buds for a little bit. The new Galaxy Buds, the Galaxy Buds 3 and the Galaxy Buds Pro. As you pointed out, you could just switch that with Apple AirPods and Apple AirPods Pro.
Right.
And if you see the pictures, which should be on the video right now, they pretty much copied Apple's design one for one. The whole case, the whole thing coming down your ears, but they made it more pointy, like a little bit edgier.
Yeah.
Which I guess is the way to get around the patent.
Yeah.
Just to make it less round.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people are saying that they look like Cybertruck had a baby with AirPods. I agree with that. Kind of Cybertruck-esque. And for the most part, they, feature the same features as AirPods and AirPods Pros, around the same price point. But one of the things that Samsung is trying to market is real-time translation via Samsung's interpreter mode.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like they'll use, pass-through to hear foreign languages and translate them for you, which is pretty cool.
I guess. Apple will probably do the same thing with their AI phone, right?
Once the AI phone comes out.
Yeah, it's like ChatGPT right there, or Siri, right? It's like, hey, Siri, translate the world for me. Or translate in real time for me. It's like, haha, joke's on Samsung, because like the news on the latest AirPods updates are the inclusion of like infrared sensors. Is it infrared? I think it's infrared. Some type of sensors so that it ties into the Vision Pro a little bit more. So it's basically expanding the spatial awareness of recording sound. But anyways, we'll see.
Yeah.
Again, speculating, but it's like Samsung's behind again, or Samsung will be playing catch up.
Yeah. Cool. See how these things do. Will be interesting to see how the new Ring does. And now we're just getting ready and getting excited for Apple's event in about 2 months here.
Yeah.
All right, that's all we have for today. The big event with big event with Samsung and the Tesla news that we'll continue monitoring as we lead up to earnings. But next week, earnings season kicks off. So we'll start to have a lot to talk about. Rivian is back up 100% since the bottom.
Yeah,
so
it like triple, quadruple down when it was like $8, $10 when you were talking about it. Oh man.
Yep. I'll just say that, Tony. Yep. Nah. I can only be this happy when I'm making good calls, but then when you actually follow me, it'll be a bad call.
Ah, I did, right? But I sold out as soon as it was up, like that pop that was what 15-20% pop, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna cash this
Yeah.
one. I should.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I knew.
Who knew? Volkswagen.
I knew, and then we have the recordings to confirm.
Dude, we talked about for a long time. You're like, oh yeah, this is the timing.
All right. Yeah, good stories. We'll see everyone next week. We'll have a little bit of a different format, but you'll have to tune in next week to see what that is. But other than that, hope everyone has a good week. Follow, subscribe, and continue letting us know what's working for you.
Okay, see you around.
See ya.